Hello, my name is Natsuo Kishimoto, and I will give you a short demo of this Transport Data Commons web prototype. But first, a few words of introduction about the vision behind the Transport Data Commons. For those of us working on sustainable transportation, whether at the local, national, or global scope, the data we need to do our work are often very costly to obtain. This is because they are neither accessible nor of high quality. There's a proliferation of databases and incompatible formats, and many of the data have data gaps or are missing metadata, definitions, information about how they've been processed. The Transport Data Commons is born from a shared vision that we can reduce these heavy costs and unlock better analysis and guidance for transitions to sustainable mobility for everyone, everywhere. How do we do that? Not with more, new, or bigger data, but with data that's made fair, findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable, to reuse the rubric from the open science movement. As for the Transport Data Commons initiative, we envision this as an organization that leads community efforts to coordinate data curation, cleaning and harmonization, to increase transparency by adding and exposing metadata, to promote and apply existing standards, and then use these to bring together existing and new transport data. As well, the TDCI will build the tools, infrastructure, and guidelines needed for this data work. This is the shared vision of individuals from the many prominent organizations shown here. In May 2022, we were convened in a workshop in Leipzig, and it became very clear very quickly that there was a shared need for this accessible, high-quality transport data. Together as a consortium, over the past year, we have worked hard, spoken to data consumers and data providers, both large and small, in order to refine the user needs and requirements for a Transport Data Commons. So we understand that to provide accessibility, TDC must provide a one-stop shop user experience to browse and explore a very broad variety of data, each clearly linked to its original or upstream sources. The TDC must also allow the community of transport experts to share their knowledge on data quality issues and how to overcome them. We've also identified the features of the technical infrastructure needed to support that user experience and that data work by the TDCI staff. I won't go over this in detail, but please get in touch if you have questions. Using those tools, the TDC will pool together data from many public sources and also guide data providers with their own data sets, whether small or large, in how to contribute. These will be transparently accessible to all. These sources will also provide a wide foundation for TDC's focused work on priority data. We'll first apply shared standards to transform data into interoperable formats, and then do the work of cleaning, harmonizing, checking, and producing high-quality validated datasets with clear links back to the original sources. So at this point in 2023, we find ourselves having completed this intensive design and research and working on prototyping and institutionalization. Again, I will show you the web prototype, but there are also prototyping efforts ongoing for the data processes and tools. We are also working on designing the structure and identifying funding sources for a sustainable long-term TDCI. I'll walk you through the prototype using some of the example user stories that we've developed over the past year. User 1 might be Chen, like you, a person who is active in transport development or research, but who doesn't interact or work with data on a daily basis. But they would hear about the TDC and discover here our key goals and principles, that we have a variety of data sets available with titles, descriptions, labels, and other catalog information, and that the TDC allows community data submissions. Next, user 2 might be Melissa. Perhaps a consultant or data analyst in an international AGO, maybe a colleague of Chen's who heard about it through Chen. And Melissa is seeking information on passenger transport activity and vehicle registrations worldwide to support planning and decision making in her organization. She may be very familiar with the transport sector and its concepts, but not with the large number of potential data sources, so she starts her search at the TDC. Because Melissa knows what she's looking for, she'll find that the search features built on the metadata that has been cataloged and extended by TDCI allow her to search by measure or indicator, geography, keywords, and many other attributes of different data flows. So choosing passenger activity, she sees this list of datasets related to her search. They have the same indicators that Chen saw earlier. Sorted first are TDC harmonized data. These are, again, where TDC has actually done the data work in coordination with the community to identify sources, assess quality, and assemble into a curated dataset with high quality. But we don't stop there. We trust that Melissa or any other user can identify what she needs. So there are also TDC formatted data in interoperable formats from some providers, and then a variety of other datasets in miscellaneous formats that may not have been cleaned or harmonized, but may yet be useful. Again, those are labeled as community data if submitted directly to TDC, or public data if they have been collected from public sources by TDCI. Clicking through to the road passenger transport activity brings Melissa to a rich set of tools for exploring the data and deciding, do these meet my needs? Because Melissa has used other popular data platforms, these are familiar and comfortable, and TDCI will likely build on or extend open source components to provide these. So first she sees that, for this data set, TDC has provided some additional editorial content in an overview. She may click through to the data set itself, arrange the table as she likes, or view the map to see which geographies are covered and the nature of the time series for each geography. She'll also probably want to check the metadata, so these are essential information about provenance and the nature of the data that are attached to the entire data set. As well, the TDC will pass through information attached to particular observations or time series, such as shown here. Finally, Melissa will be able to download the data in different formats, or use an SDMX API to retrieve the subset she needs. For her vehicle registration data, Melissa's search takes her to a different list. Notice in this case, TDCI has found or prepared 2 standard compliance data sources for registration. But, and this is often the case, these have different indicators measured in distinct ways, and so to harmonize them together is more work that may not yet have been funded, started, or completed. Nevertheless, the TDC lets her see and explore and compare those are available, and again download or retrieve them through the API. Last but not least, let's think about user 3, Lucas, who works for a regional development bank that has built many road projects. For each of these projects, traffic surveys have been conducted, so the bank has built a significant database that they want to provide for reuse as a co-benefit of their work. This data provider info page helps Lucas find out the other TDC data providers, process applied, and the standards on which the platform is built. He can even view a walkthrough. So he's convinced and he decides to sign up, identifies himself, some topics of interest. He can even ask to be associated with a particular organization that has already been registered with the TDC, and of course an admin or owner of that organization would have to approve that request. Next, he can invite some colleagues, verify his account, and now he's looking at the user dashboard, from which he clicks the Add Data button. What we're showing here is the web flow, and perhaps Lucas feels confident to walk through this already. But TDCI will also develop these documentation and guides shown on the right side, and have data workers employed to help Lucas, or anyone else, if he has any questions or lacks the technical experience. But since he does have that, he can fill in some information about the dataset, and then is prompted to share some essential metadata as shown earlier. This is essential to track the provenance of the data that he is about to upload. On the next slide, he uploads some files, both data and metadata. And you can see that the system will have built-in checks. So here it is confirming that the data file that has been uploaded by Lucas is already in the TDC compliant SDMX format for data and metadata. Great work, Lucas. He can choose a license for his data and hits next. Now his submission appears here, and he can follow his TDCI staff check and eventually switch it from draft to displayed in the catalog. The common aspect of TDC is critical to cut down the barrier of costly, individualized data work and instead to provide easy access to high-quality transport data for all. So we keenly welcome data users, data providers, both small and large, funding partners, researchers, development organizations, and everyone else. Please get in touch via transportdata.org or join the mailing list to get future updates. Thank you.